All right, hey everyone, are you ready to dive deep? Today we're looking into ketosis, and more specifically, how to know if you're actually in ketosis.
Yeah, it can be tricky, right?
It really can. Luckily, we've got some great sources to guide us. We've got articles from Healthline, Medical News Today, and MedicineNet.
Oh, and we even found a YouTube video from Dr. Eric Berg.
Perfect. That should give us a good mix of perspectives.
Hmm.
So, what are the telltale signs? What's happening in our bodies? We'll cover it all, the good and the, well, not so fun.
Like, bad breath.
Exactly. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of those signs, let's lay some groundwork.
Yeah, good idea.
So one of the things that I always find so fascinating about ketosis is how it kind of flips the script on how we think about fuel, you know?
Right, like we're always told carbs are the primary energy source.
Yeah, but ketosis is like, hold on, we got another option here, fat.
It is. It's a pretty remarkable adaptation. When you drastically reduce those carbs, your body has to find another way to find fuel.
And that's where ketones come in, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so can you give us the quick lowdown on what exactly ketones are and where do they come from?
Sure. So think of your liver as like a master chef.
Okay, I like this analogy.
So when it's low on carbs, it starts making these ketone bodies from stored fat.
Oh,
And these ketone bodies, they're like little energy packets. Your body and even your brain can use them for fuel.
wow. So it's like our bodies have this built-in backup generator ready to go when we're running low on our usual fuel.
Precisely. And there are signs, that tell you this generator is running.
Like weight loss, I mean, that's kind of a big one, right?
Definitely. But there are others too, like changes in your breath, which can
Oh.
be a little surprising.
Yeah, speaking of breath, we have to talk about keto breath. Healthline even compares it to nail polish remover.
Oh, yeah, acetone.
So is that accurate? And why does it happen?
It is. So imagine your cells are like little factories churning out ketones for energy.
Okay.
One of those ketones, acetone, it vaporizes easily and it gets released through your breath.
Oh, so that's what gives it that distinct smell.
It often has a slightly fruity smell.
Interesting. Okay, so it's not just about what you eat, it's also about what your body is, like producing as a byproduct of this whole metabolic shift. Wild. All right, back to weight loss for a second.
Sure.
Dr. Berg mentioned you could lose like 7 to 14 pounds.
Yeah, in the first week or so.
That seems like a lot that quickly.
It can be, and it's important to understand why. A lot of that initial weight loss is water weight.
Okay.
Carbs bind to water in your body, so when you cut carbs, you release that water.
Oh, so as you stay in ketosis, that's when you start burning the fat, right?
Your body gets better at using fat for fuel, and that leads to more sustainable weight loss.
Gotcha. So it's not just about dropping water weight, it's about retraining your body to use its fat reserves. Pretty cool.
It is. This shift can also impact your appetite, too.
Oh, really?
Have you ever noticed after like a high-fat meal, you feel fuller for longer?
Yeah, for sure.
Fat digests slower than carbs. It helps regulate hormones that signal fullness.
Makes sense.
So on keto, you feel less hungry and you have fewer cravings.
All the sources we looked at, they highlighted this decreased appetite as a key sign of ketosis.
Yes.
Dr. Berg even mentioned that as your insulin sensitivity improves on keto, you get better at absorbing nutrients, which also helps with that feeling of being full.
Yeah.
But before we move on, can you explain what insulin sensitivity is?
Oh, of course. So insulin is a hormone, and it helps your cells absorb glucose from your bloodstream for energy. When you eat lots of carbs, your body needs to make more insulin to keep up.
Right.
And over time, this can lead to insulin resistance. Your cells become less responsive to the insulin.
Ah, okay.
Keto helps improve that sensitivity because you're not demanding as much insulin in the first place.
So by switching to fat as our main fuel source, we're basically giving our insulin a much-needed break.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Awesome. And that can have some positive effects on our bodies.
Absolutely. Now, all of this sounds pretty promising, but there can be some, well, less desirable signs that your body is adjusting, like the keto flu.
Ugh, the dreaded keto flu. Is it as bad as it sounds?
Well, it depends. Some people sail through the transition, no problem. Others might feel a bit like they have the flu,
Yeah.
like fatigue, headaches, maybe even some nausea.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What causes these symptoms? And more importantly, can we do anything to make them less intense?
So the keto flu is basically your body going through carb withdrawal. It's used to running on glucose, and now it has to adapt to a new fuel source.
I see.
This can cause some electrolyte imbalances, which contribute to those flu-like symptoms.
Our bodies are throwing a little tantrum.
Haha, in a way, yeah. But the good news is it's usually temporary.
Do.
And you can do things to help, like staying hydrated, making sure you're getting enough electrolytes, especially sodium, potassium, and magnesium, and of course, prioritizing sleep.
Okay, great. So we've covered keto breath, weight loss, changes in appetite, and the keto flu. Anything else we should be looking out for?
There is, and some of it's a bit surprising, like how often you go to the bathroom and even how well you sleep.
Ooh, interesting.
But let's save those for the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good. All right, everyone, we'll be back shortly to continue exploring ketosis and all its fascinating effects. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. We're diving back into the signs of ketosis, and I'm really curious about those bathroom habits you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing how interconnected our bodies are, right? Even changing what we eat can affect so many things.
Exactly. So, what happens when our kidneys join the ketosis party?
Well, one thing you might notice is you're not peeing as much, and the color of your pee might be a bit darker too.
Okay, why is that?
Remember how carbs hold on to water? Well, when your body uses up its glycogen stores, basically its stored carbs, it releases that water.
Right, right.
At first you pee more, but then as you get deeper into ketosis, your kidneys start holding on to water better so you don't go as often.
So your body gets more, what, water-wise?
Exactly. And all this can affect your, bowel movements too.
Oh, interesting.
Some people get constipated on keto, others have the opposite. It really depends on your gut bacteria and how your body reacts to the changes in fiber.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, let's switch gears for a second and talk about sleep. Medicine.net mentioned insomnia as a possible side effect of ketosis.
Especially in the beginning, yeah.
But wouldn't burning fat make you more relaxed, sleepier?
You'd think so, right? But that initial metabolic shift can really mess with some people's sleep. It could be because of changes in blood sugar and hormone production as your body adjusts.
So it's like our bodies are resetting their sleep schedules.
Pretty much. But in the long run, many people who stick with keto actually find their sleep improves.
How so?
Well, as your insulin sensitivity gets better, you don't get those energy spikes and crashes that can disrupt sleep.
Oh, right. And Dr. Berg mentioned that ketones give your brain a steadier energy supply, which can help you sleep more deeply.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about something really interesting, how ketosis can affect your brain power.
Yeah, some of the articles mentioned brain fog in the beginning.
Yeah, that can happen as you adjust. But once you're in ketosis, lots of people say they feel sharper, more focused.
And even happier, some sources said.
It's like keto gives your brain a boost.
What's going on there?
Well, remember those ketones. They're super efficient brain fuel. Some studies even say they're better than glucose for some brain functions.
Wow.
Plus, ketones protect brain cells from damage.
That's amazing. Medicine.net even suggested that a keto diet might help with things like Alzheimer's, where brain cells are damaged.
It's still being researched, but the possibilities are exciting. But we do have to remember that everyone reacts to ketosis differently.
Yeah, not everyone gets every symptom, right?
Exactly. It's about paying attention to your own body. And speaking of signals, there's one more we should talk about. It has to do with energy levels and exercise.
Okay, this is what you were hinting at before, right?
It can be a bit of a double-edged sword, especially for gym goers. Some people feel super energized on keto, but for others, their workouts take a hit, at least at first.
Ooh, I want to hear more about this.
We'll dive into that and explore how ketosis affects athletic performance in the long run when we come back for the final part of our deep dive.
And we're back, ready to finish our deep dive into the world of ketosis.
We've covered so much already, from keto breath to how ketosis can actually benefit your brain.
Right, and last time we were about to talk about ketosis and exercise, you were saying it can be a mixed bag.
It really can. It's not as simple as saying keto is good or bad for your workouts.
So tell me more about that. What happens when keto and the gym collide?
Well, at first, some people notice their workouts aren't as strong, especially if they're doing high-intensity stuff, things that need quick energy.
Yeah.
Remember, your body is used to using glucose for fuel. Switching to fat is a big change.
So it's like our muscles are going, hey, where's my usual energy boost?
Exactly. But as your body gets better at using ketones, that dip in performance usually goes away.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
In fact, for endurance athletes like marathon runners or cyclists, keto can actually be really beneficial in the long run.
That's interesting. Why is that?
Well, fat is a more concentrated energy source than carbs. It's like having a bigger gas tank, which is obviously helpful for those long distances.
So it's not about getting rid of that quick energy altogether. It's more about training your body to use a different kind of fuel for those longer efforts.
Exactly. Now, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture for a second. We've learned about all these different signs of ketosis, but what does it all mean for our listeners?
Yeah, that's a big question. We have this new understanding of our bodies, but how do we use it?
Well, if you're thinking about trying keto, knowing these signs can be super helpful. It can tell you if you're actually in ketosis and how your body's reacting.
Like a guide for your keto journey.
Exactly. Even if you're not into keto, this deep dive shows us just how adaptable our bodies are.
Right, like we can change how we use fuel depending on what we eat.
Exactly. We have more control over our metabolism than we might realize.
That's a great point. So as we wrap up, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from this?
Hmm. I'd say it's this. Your body is always talking to you, sending you little signals. Are you listening? Because those signals can tell you how to be your healthiest self.
That's a powerful message. And on that note, we'll say goodbye for today. Keep learning, keep listening to your body, and keep diving deeper into the things that fascinate you. Until next time.